For a number of years, I've wanted to put a bridge over the stream of the pond. My plan in thinking this through was that people could come in the back gate, especially when the kids come from the school. Come in the back gate, follow the stone pathway all the way around the pond, go up over a bridge over the stream, short path, and you're back at where they come in at the back gate. So I finally got started with that after thinking about it and researching it for a number of years, and I got it started. I was hesitant to make this video right now because people get all bent out of shape when they can't see the finished product, and this is far from finished, but I'm going to put it up because otherwise it's going to be a very, very long video if I did it all in one take. It's an arched bridge with steps on either side. I'll have planks in the middle. Right now what I have is the arches finished, at least the structural part done. I have the handrails done, and I have the beginnings of stairways done for it. Next spring, what I have to do is finish all of the pieces that I've done to make it look like wood, and then do the planks along on the top of the arches and the steps that actually go up to the top. All of it will look like wood, faux bois. And structurally, it's made with ferrocement. It's got a base structure of a piece of rebar covered with chicken wire, then a layer of concrete, then another layer of chicken wire, a layer of concrete, and so forth. The main arches have 3 layers. The handrails have 2 layers. Everything will get an additional layer that will be the finished layer that is textured to look like wood. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put this video together of what I've done so far, with the understanding when you watch this, it's far from done. So please understand it's going to look a lot different when it's finished, but I've simply run out of time. I didn't get this started till September. It's now November, and it's colder than blazes outside. It was 14 degrees this morning, and so I've got to wait a spring to finish it up. But here we go. All right, as I build this bridge, I want to do it like a much bigger bridge would be done, because kids are going to walk across this, and I want it to be structurally sound and strong. So I'm going to create 2 abutments, one on each end. I've already poured this one, and I've embedded rebar in it at about a 45-degree angle, probably maybe less than that, maybe 35 degrees. Then I have a couple of uprights here that I put in, and this is going to be where there's going to be stumps made, tree pieces come up, and that's where the hand railing will go across. These will have other rebar attached to them, and they're going to arc over. Okay, so it's an arched bridge that's going over this thing. On any arch, the load is pushing down, and it's tending to want to push those arch legs out. So to redirect the forces, the outward forces that would tend to want to push the ends of the bridge out, you want to direct those into an abutment, and the forces that are directed that way then will be put into the ground at an angle and also straight down, and that'll prevent any splaying of the arch. And these arches will be made of ferrocement. I have a layer of chicken wire and concrete, another layer of chicken wire and concrete, and a final layer of expanded metal lath, and then finished to look like tree branches that are going across, and the bridge being made out of tree branches. So that's the approach we got going. And right now I have the one abutment poured here, and I'll be pouring one on the other side, so I'll take a close-up of this. There's the concrete abutment, and you see the rebar uprights that'll serve as the bases for the handrails, and then these angled rebar, they have a bend on the end of them down inside the concrete, an L-shaped bend that'll keep them from pulling out or pushing in any further, and anchors them, L-shaped anchors actually, and that's where I'll attach the arches that then go over the bridge. So that's step number one in building the bridge that's going to go across the stream to the pond. Here's the other bridge abutment with the pieces of rebar installed. Then I've taken another piece, bend it into an arch, brought it over the stream, and then to the other bridge abutment. And you can see where I've tied these together like that with wire. This is going to be real difficult in here for me to film, or to video I mean, while I'm actually working, because it's very cramped quarters in here. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wire another arch to this particular piece of rebar here, and then that will arch over to that piece of rebar, just as I did the first piece. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make those into the two arches that will support the bridge, and that will be done by wrapping chicken wire around the rebar and filling with the high performance concrete mix that I make. And we'll put a second layer of chicken wire on, and what we'll end up with is we're going to have two arches that will eventually be made to look like two bent trees from one side to the other. And then we also have to do the same for some handrails, and we'll start the construction thereafter. So the first thing I want to do is get that second arch on, and then I want to start wrapping with chicken wire. Now I'll wrap these posts down here that are in concrete with chicken wire and concrete to make those into a thicker post. Then I'll surround it with more of the concrete mix and raise that abutment up a little bit more. So you'll see when I'm done here. Yeah, here it is, September the 6th. And it's colder than heck. Alright. It's my bridge abutment. We're going to add concrete to this after we get this wrapped. These are the two arches that will go over the bridge, because we need to do some ferro cement stuff. The way you work this is we take some chicken wire, and I 8-10 inches or so, 10 inches maybe. Cut this off. Wear some gloves. Otherwise this stuff will eat you alive. We're going to end up covering this rebar completely in chicken wire. We'll do a layer of chicken wire, infiltrate the chicken wire with our concrete mix. Then we'll put another layer of chicken wire, another layer of concrete mix. And we're going to make these look like two tree branches that are bent over the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take this chicken wire and wrap it around the rebar, like so. I'm going to squeeze it in tight. It's going to give us a metal mass of intertwined small wires. And when we fill this with concrete, so I'll serve as reinforcement. Then a second layer of chicken wire done the same way over the concrete. We'll end up with something about, maybe 4 inches in diameter, and made of that high strength concrete with all this metal in it. And that's a construction technique known as ferrocement. It doesn't require that your rebar be real heavy stuff. Maybe number 3 rebar. All it does is provide a skeleton to hold the chicken wire and concrete. It's just a skeleton. It's not really that much of a support. These multiple layers of metal and concrete are what turn this into what is called ferrocement. I have to dig out behind it. Continue that on both of these up over the whole stretch. When that's filled, we'll start to get stability in these. That's going to serve as a backbone to our bridge. I'm going to have to dig that out a little bit. So there we are with chicken wire wrapped to the center of the arch. We got to do the same thing from the other side. Then I'm going to add some cross pieces about 1/3 of the way up on each side that will extend beyond the arches to the side. Then they will be the attachments for uprights for the handrails across the bridge. Probably make the walkway on this about maybe 28 inches wide. And the handrails stick out, so the total width of the thing will be maybe 34, 36 inches wide. And but the side pieces that come out will end up being made to approximate branches coming out of these bent trees. So the side branches come out the side and curve upward, and they'll become the uprights for the handrail. You can see the increasing strength of ferrocement. This is without any concrete on it, just the rebar covered with chicken wire. So if I make a little movement here, you can see what happens to these cross pieces. There you go. Doesn't look like a lever amount to a rigid bridge that can hold the weight of people. It's pretty flimsy. Well, just give me some time here. Now you can see that's kind of like clay. I can take this now, I can push it into that chicken wire and mold it around. Still not stay in there completely. I'm going to work this a little bit. patty out of it. Push it into the chicken wire. Move it around. Obviously, this is when you need gloves. Out the little boy in playing with mud pies. Have some fall off. Just work it the best you can. Smooth it out there. And start getting sticky, then you'll get a little water. Wet your gloves. Okay, I'm going to add some here. And we want to make sure we wet this down so it doesn't suck the moisture out of what we're about to put on. Get a chunk of this. Make a patty out of it. Push it into the chicken wire. Smooth it out. Out, I put back up. We cover the whole thing that way. And you do that until it's all filled up. Alright, we have the arches covered with first layer of chicken wire and concrete. we're going to kind of finish up the bottoms that still need to be worked on a little. And then we're going to put a second layer of chicken wire on this and a second layer of concrete. And as this builds up, it'll get stronger and stronger. Here are these arches now with the first coat completed. And you recall how these things shook rather than hang on them. Here's what we got now. I can still move a tiny bit. But that's one coat of ferro cement. We're now going to do two things. We're going to, these are going to be the base of the bridge. There's going to be a couple of steps put in here, and then the planks that are the walkway will go on top of that. We also have to provide for two railings, handrails. So the handrails will start down at the base. They too will arch over the top, but they have to be at a code height. I think it's about 30 inches. I checked that. So I have to provide a means of supporting those rails from the base. So I'm going to, about a third of the way up here and a third of the way up on the other side, I'm going to add a rebar across here that bends upward. That will be made to look like tree branches growing out from the base, and those branches will be supports for the rails that go over the top. So the next step is for me to wire two pieces of rebar that will bend upwards that we can attach uprights to later on to make these supports for the railing. And then we're going to put the second coat of ferro cement on. So the next step is those uprights. So I've bent this rebar. Come on, you're one-eyed. Come on over here. Come on. Here, get your peanuts right there. That's it. That's it. Lots of them right there. Atta boy. Okay, had to bring some peanuts out here because they drive me crazy otherwise. Won't even have them. Anyway, we're going to wire this here about a third of the way up like this. And we're going to wire another one over there. And this will be where the uprights go for handrailing. And we'll wire these in right now, then we'll be covering these up. We'll make this part look like a branch coming out here to go up. And that's how, hi one-eye. You got enough peanuts now? Huh? You got enough peanuts? Oh, come on, here's another one. Come here. Come here. Here, you want another one? There you go. Okay. So we'll wire those on. And then we can put the second chicken wire on here, and first on this, and get those ready for the next layer of concrete. I want them long enough so I can double them. Well, that's not going to be long enough. I want to. Get another one. Go ahead. Just help yourself, bud. Well, we'll use it single. Hi, little fella. Okay, just a minute. Here. Here. Come here. Come here. Come on. There you go. Here, you want another one? There you go. Okay. Where are you coming from now? Oh, there's my other guy. Okay, well, just a minute. Here, you want some? Come here. Come on, baby. Come on. Here. Over here. Okay, come on up here. That's the way. Here, you want another one? Come here. I got a third one. Hey, buddy. Some of you wonder why I don't work faster. That's part of the reason. Little guy can drive you crazy. What's the matter, One Eye? Huh? What's the matter? Come here. It's all right. Come here. Now, don't you guys get in a fight. Come here. Here. Here's one for here. Come on, get another one. Right here. Right here. Right here. Here. I haven't got, wait, here's two more. Okay, here's one. Okay? I gotta save one for One Eye. Got One Eye? Okay, I got one more. Here. Okay, that's it. What do you want? I haven't got any more. That's all I have. I don't have any more. I have no more. Okay? It's all gone. All gone. I don't have any more. Later on. This afternoon, okay? Later this afternoon I'll have more. Okay? I know it's getting late in the year and you need to fill your coffers. One Eye, I don't have any more. Oh, that's not one. Yeah, that's One Eye. I don't have any more right now, sweetie. You'll have to come back later. Yeah, look in the bucket. Yeah, there's no more in there, is there? I know. It's all right, little fella. No, you can't be bothering me right now, okay? Look, I don't have any more, okay? I don't want you to get cut on a piece of wire. Look, watch out before you get hurt. I don't have any more peanuts. You know, we gotta go put one on the other side, and then we'll start covering for the second coat. This will give us the attachments then for the uprights for the handrails. All right, okay, we have to wire this one on now, and I got some more peanuts because I know those guys will be back driving me crazy otherwise. Now we got another one here. We're going to wire about here. Yeah. My little buddies. Somebody's going to be complaining because they can hear the kids in the park, in the playground out there. Right there. Here, right here. Right there. Feeling a little awkward today. Come on up here. Here. Come here. 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 Want another one? There you go. Okay, next thing we'll go get some chicken wire. Put some chicken wire on this. Get ready for the next coat of concrete. Alright, now we have to get another layer of chicken wire on here. Chipmunks are raising a fuss up on the deck. Okay. Now we're going to put that around there. Wire it. Put it up. Top. Take this down there. There. Okay. Right, so the buttons are back around there again. In working on this bridge and dealing with ferro cement, we're making those arches Part of our problem in putting concrete on is the underneath side of the arch. It's very difficult to get stuff to stick on the underneath side. So I make up a mix that does a pretty good job. And I'm going to show you how to do that and what I do anyway. And then we'll go out there and we'll put it on and we'll show you how well it works. Basically, we're going to do a 1 sand to 1 cement, and then we're going to add, today not very much, CSA cement because it's 95 degrees even though it's September 23rd. And that speeds up the set, but it also provides a number of other benefits in the mix. So we're going to add a little bit of CSA cement. We're going to add roughly 20 to 25 or a little bit more percent of metakaolin. I'm going to put a little bit of Zypex in it. I always want to add Zypex because I want that waterproofing. And I'll also add PVA fiber. And I'm using a mix of acrylic, and I'm using 50% acrylic from Fishstone, their concrete brand. I'm mixing it 1 to 1 with water. So it's about a 25% addition of acrylic to the mix. This makes a very, very thick mix. It gets quite hot. The heat of hydration is very high. But if you mix it carefully, you'll end up with something that's almost like applying clay. So here we go. I'll just get a bucket here. We have to let this slake a bit. Right now you can see the consistency it's still pretty runny. It would fall off. 5 minutes from now that stuff's going to be pretty heavy. So while that is slaking, and I may end up having to add a tiny bit of liquid to it now, because I used 1 to 1 acrylic and water. If I need to add a little bit of liquid to it, I can add a little bit of water when we get out there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this out now, set the camera up outside, and we'll show you how this is applied. Outside now, and I just want to show you what's already happened with this mix. This is no longer liquid at all. It's more like modeling clay, as you can see. And that's what we want, something like that. Now we'll apply it. Okay, got the camera reset. I've already applied to the top here. And here's what I'm going to do. First, I'll take a spray bottle. I'm going to spray this, especially today. And if I didn't have such a heavy acrylic in the mix, I would probably coat the old concrete with some acrylic too. But since I have so much acrylic in it, all I need is to have it wet. I'm going to take a chunk of that mix that I made. I'm going to wet my glove, and I'm going to pat it like a hamburger patty. Just get it wet on the outside a little bit. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it right on the screen. I'm going to push it into the mesh and gently spread it. Get another chunk. Wet my glove. Push. Gently move it around. Some will fall. It does. Pick it up. Throw it back in the bucket and remix it. Takes you back to kid days making mud pies. Okay. And you see how that stands up pretty well. You got to be careful with the gloves because that chicken wire has pieces sticking out, and it'll gladly tear the daylights out of your gloves and your hands too. So anyway, this is what we're doing. And with that metakaolin in it, it's an incredibly strong mix. Just push it right in there, all the way to the base. Roll it up, smooth it out. This is our second layer of what we call ferrocement, chicken wire and cement. And you'll see in a minute, I'll show you just how strong this has already become. I want to fill this a little bit again because that was a little low. I want to bring it up to the other side, arch on the other side. So we'll work this around. Can't wait too long. This stuff does set up. You can see it very much like modeling clay. And I'll just take a bit of that. And it's pliable enough that it pushes very easily down to the base of the chicken wire onto the other layer. And that's it. That's the mix and how we get it underneath without it all falling off. Okay, I showed you a little bit before about how this stiffness of this whole thing increased as we added, before we added anything and after the first layer. We're not even finished with the second layer right now, but I want you to see that if I put my full weight into this, that's what's happened now with not even 2 full layers of ferrocement. This is simply not going anywhere. It's very rigid. When I put the final layer on, it will be sufficient to, hopefully we won't have a 2,000-pound kid walking on it, but it'll support it. As steep as this incline is here, we're going to have some steps. And I measured these out. One step will be here, one step here, one step here. And they're going to come out this way. Now, to give support for those, it would be neat if I took right in the middle of each step and created a small, look like a branch coming off of here, up. Then it'll provide support underneath for that step. So I've never throw away wire. This was wire from a political campaign poster somebody put in my yard a year or so ago. And what I did was I cut these in 6-inch lengths and I bent them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire them here, here, let's see, here, here, and here. And that eventually then will form the core of the branch that's coming off of what this is going to look like. I have another one over here, here, and here. And that will provide support then for the step. And the branches will be about maybe 2 inches in diameter, and like this, and that'll provide support under the concrete Faux Bois step. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wire these here, here, and here, and they'll get embedded in concrete, and then they'll be good and solid. And then when we form the final layer on this, that's when I'll make this all meld together to look like little pieces of branches growing out of these bent trees that will support the steps. So that's the next step then before we put on the final coat. And I have decided, instead of using metal lath on the final coat, I'm just going to put another layer of chicken wire, which should be sufficient, because these are going to end up being about 4 inches in diameter, and that'll be plenty strong to carry the weight of the bridge, and kids are going to want to walk over it. So anyway, that's what we're going to do, is wire these here, and there's no sense my videotaping that. That's just tedious. All right, there's the pieces of wire that are wired to the main arches, and when those are covered with mesh and filled with concrete, they'll become integral with the arches and serve as supports for the steps. Okay, before I quit for the night, I decided I'd just go ahead and mix up a little mix. Throw on there, I'll wet the old concrete, throw some of this new mix on that has a lot of acrylic in it, and lock those pieces into place. And that way, when I come back tomorrow to put on the final layer of chicken wire, we'll be ready to go, and I won't be knocking those out of position every time I turn around. That's the day's work. Come here, little guy. Come here, I got peanuts for you. I told you I'd get peanuts. Where'd you go? Yeah, now I got peanuts. You disappear. Where are you? Come on. Come here. Come here. Come on, sweetie. There you are. Where are you coming? You're not One Eye. What are you? What are you doing? Huh? Here. Come on over here. There you go. You go on. Go back to your nest. One Eye, come here. Come on, buddy. How you doing, Nathan? One Eye. Come here, One Eye.
I saw him running around.
Yeah, I was trying to videotape some stuff here. He was jumping on my hands. Here, One Eye, come here. Where'd you go?
Oh, there he is.
Where?
Right here.
Come here, One Eye. Come here.
Right there.
Here you go. Here you go. Come here. Here, come here. Here's a whole bunch of them for you. Okay? Now what you got to do is you got to leave me alone so I can get some work done here. Put some right here by the hole. Okay? But you better hurry up and get out here and get them, because Red's going to come over here and get them. Yeah, Red's going to come get them. Alright, there we go. Anyway. The reason I needed to mark out the steps is I need to know about where they're going to be. I'm going to have a tread coming out here, Let's see what I got here now. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of metal lath. I'm going to make a surround. It's going to fit in here. It'll be about at this level, because you know this is the bottom of the tread. And about this level is where I want there to be, looking like there's a branch coming off of this tree. And hi Red, what do you want, huh? Look, over here. Come here. Come here. Here, Red. Come here. Come on. Come on. Come get him. Here. Here. You're stealing One Eyes. There you go, One Eye. Come on out. Better hurry up and get those nuts before Red gets them all. Okay. Anyway, we're going to put one here. So we have to just make like a little cylinder. It doesn't have to be real big. I just want something that's going to provide something for the concrete to adhere to. So we're just going to cut this off here. And then, see, it won't go on, so we have to cut a little bit of this off at an angle. It looks about 45. And we're going to have a conflict here for long, because old Red and One Eye will be fighting over this stuff. Okay. Cut that at an angle. We want to put that on there. That's going to be close to the bottom. Okay. So I'm going to save that until I get the wire on. The rest of the chicken wire on, so that I can wire this to the chicken wire. But that's what I'm going to do, is make one of these for each of these posts, and then we'll fill that with concrete. And I'll show you what that looks like on the other side where I've already done that. And I don't have to try to be working and run on video at the same time. Now there's Red on the left and One Eye. Oh, there he goes. Chased him off. One Eye protecting his cache. This hole is right there, so he goes right down there. Okay, so there's the one I put on last night. There's some more. Each of those will look like branches when we're done. There's one that still has to be done. Look like branches that have been added to support the bottom of the step of the tread. And we'll finalize the height of those when we get to putting the treads on. We now have the third layer of chicken wire and concrete on here, and that makes this about 4 inches in diameter, and there's no way this is going to move now. And I've already stood on this, so I know how strong it is. And this is the base. And then what we have to do is we have to make these branches coming out. That'll go up for the supports for the hand railing. Then we make planks that go across this way for the walking surface. And then we have to have stairwell down here. And I was going to model this after Japanese garden bridges. But after I started looking at this, particularly this side that has the sharpest incline here, this is such a steep angle that once I put stairs on here, I made the risers, each about 7 inches, 7.5 inches, and the treads then to be proper should be probably 10 inches anyway. And anyway, the angle is so steep that when you get down to the steepest angle, you're going to end up with treads that are more like a step ladder than a stairway. And so I'm reconsidering that. Even though that's the way the Japanese garden bridges are made, with almost a ladder-like step system until you get up high enough that it's easy to walk on. I don't like it because most of the people that are going to walk on this bridge are going to be kids. And I really don't need something that's like a step ladder. I wouldn't let a 5th grade or 3rd grade kid climb a step ladder. And so if I'm going to have kids climbing on this, I need to have it more like a normal staircase. So I figured that what I need to do is my the risers are the proper size, but the rise is fine, the run is much too short. So I've got to extend that run out further and make a few more steps. That way it'll be more of a natural angle. So anyway, that's easy to do. What I'll do is I took a grinder and I cut off some of these step supports that I put in before, and I cut them down. And then what I did, a cardboard box, and I laid out on cardboard. I laid out a stair system of 7.5 inch riser with a 10-inch tread, and then when I have basically an inch overlap, I'll end up with an 11-inch tread. So a 7.5 inch riser, 11-inch tread will be just about right. And then what I did was I laid this in against what I have here to where I want that last riser to be, right about here, and laid it up against here to see where I fall, and we can work this out pretty well. Tread here, and a tread way down here that extends beyond the bottom of the arches of the bridge, but it will make it a normal stairway. So I'm going to redo these, and I've now got them set up to where I can set it like that. I need to put another support in here. What I'll do is I'll just have another branch come up here to support this tread. And by the time that you walk up to this tread, yeah, pretty flat going across. So that should make it a much safer deal. So anyway, a reconsideration of the treads and risers on there, and I'll feel a whole lot better about that being safer for kids. Okay, we're going to mix up a little mix here that can be hand applied, work real nicely like clay. And using a 4-cup container, I'm going to use 1 container or 4 cups of coarse sand. 1 container or 4 cups of a fine sand. Then I'm going to go to Portland. And I'm going to use 1, 2 containers of Portland. That's about 8 cups. And I'm going to add some CSA. In this case, I just want it nicely for the expansive properties. I add about half grudge needs to be cleaned up again. I'm going to add 2 heaping cups of metakaolin. And then I'm going to add a couple of heaping tablespoons of Zypex. And I'm going to take some PVA fiber and I'm going to add a small handful, maybe half a cup. And that's our ingredients for the mix. And what I got to do is add the acrylic. I mix my dry stuff. Remember I said I added 2 containers of concrete or cement. So I'm going to add 1 container of acrylic, the 3-to-1 mix, and then I'm going to add about 1/3 more. This is what I'm going to start out with. Now watch this mix. Now I want to feel this. And that looks pretty good. It's about what I want. I'm going to leave it right at that. I'm guessing my amounts of liquid are pretty good. Pull it away from the edges, make sure I don't have any more dry stuff sitting down in there. This will slake some. You can see that's about the consistency of modeling clay. Water on this and on this. I want that wet. Alright, what I'm going to do First of all, I gotta see where this thing is gonna go. I gotta have about 1/4 of an inch on the top. So I reach in and I get some of my mix. I wet my glove. And this is actually looking pretty good. Just want to make this a little wider. Wet my gloves. When I wet the gloves, then I can shape this stuff. So, these are going to serve as supports for the steps. Wet gloves keep the mix from sticking to the gloves, and they kind of shape it. Like that. Now it's a little flat. And now we're going to want this other side over here to be the same as that. Okay. That looks good. Okay. Wet this again. We want to bring this one out this way some. Get some more mix. Wet the glove. Make a wet patty. You can see you can kind of like that, just like modeling clay. Let's see about where that is. That's got to come up quite good, actually. Just shape that to look like a branch. Broad enough. It's not going to crack. Kind of support we need for the half a step. Definitely want to have rubber gloves for this. Pretty doggone close. So Okay. And then when we're ready to texture this to look like wood, we'll come back and redo some of this. Add some stuff to it. Make it look like a branch. Put some knots on it. Anyway, that's how that's done. We'll continue down here now. And now when we put our step on there, I have good support for it. Okay, next step I'm going to take is to start doing all of the rebar work for the railings. I get those set up, and to do that, I think in terms of having a railing that's 36 inches above the walkway. And to do that, I've taken 4-foot pieces of rebar and I've bent them two different directions, bent over here and bent over here, and they're at 90-degree angles to each other. And the way this is going to work is what I did was I bent 6 inches, approximately 6 inches on each end, so that I have 36 inches between here, roughly. So if I wire this here, then the top will be aimed in the direction of the handle, or the handrail. And then I will put a handrail attached to these tops, and we'll put another railing down here just a few inches above the floor, and to keep somebody from sliding underneath the handrail, just as kind of a stop. And then we'll probably wire something in between that'll be a little more decorative, kind of look like branches coming off of these, because these again will be like tree branches. Alright, so what we got to do here is, what we've done in the past, is wire these on. These are times when I wish I had the ability to weld. It sure make things a lot easier. So if I take this, I'll wire these together. Piece of wire. I'll slip before I get this all tightened up. My arthritis is killing me today. So, this is going to work. Okay. So I've got 4 of those to put on, and then I'll cut some long pieces to attach to the tops, and that'll give us the framework for our handrails. number 3 rebar, and what I did was I pretty much laid it over the top of the arch, and I bent it to try to follow the arch of the base, and that in turn is going to go up here. So, got some wire ties here. Picked up a package of those that are already cut. They got ends on them. We'll get this started. Tighten nothing up too tight yet. The young people had an advantage. You keep the balance. I'm covered. 74, 75-year-old man. These don't have to be tied particularly accurately. Once you get them started, you get concrete on them, heavy joints, concrete on the joints. Then what you can do is come back and you can bend the free end and bend things into shape. And you've got to figure out some kind of branch design to go in between and make it look like branches. That's a there handrail. Alright, I've got chicken wire now on all the joints, and what I'll be doing now is putting a concrete mix on those to stiffen up the joints where they were put together, and then we can work on the other aspects of the railing system. Yeah, it's been cruddy weather. I had a couple inches of rain the other day, yesterday, the day before. And it's been this real fine mist ever since. It just jumped. Anyway, we need to put another arc in here. And I know somebody's going to ask me how I bend this. It's really not that big a deal. So that's going to fit in between there. And all I want to do is kind of follow the same, make it concentric to the curve of the thing there. So what I do is I just put it here and give it a little tighten the old abs. got a curve. And that looks pretty doggone good. Cross that here. And so we got to bend these ends a little. The way I do that is I just take the rebar hickey and I use the pipe end. Just do that. Take the other end. Let's see what we got. Enough. It would be nice to have somebody else working with you. Tight. Oh, that is cold. 59 degrees. Okay. Good show. Alright, now I need to make some armatures for branches going between the top rail and the bottom rail. The only armature wire I could really find is aluminum, and I really don't want to get aluminum involved inside my concrete as it's so reactive. So I'm just going to use triple strands of the tie wire that I use. Just triple this stuff up. So, this will give me a heavy enough wire to put chicken wire or expanded metal lath on to make thinner branches going between the rails. I want those to be, you know, we could put them in as straight uprights, but I want these kind of look like they maybe grown out of these trees. So, try to do this. Let's see if we can take one from here, center. Here. Card. Chicken there. Right. And then that will become a branch. Now we could take the center of this, drop it over here. Let's put another one from there to here. One. Formal. I want it to be more free form. That's here. All right. And maybe we'll take another one down here. And one that's covered with concrete, made to look like branches. That'll kind of fill in things. You can't see those too well, but I've now filled in the spaces here with tripled black wire. It's going to serve as the base for random branches that are going to fill in and act as railing. sure you're wearing some gloves. You still get stuck. But fold the ends around. That's going to provide a lot of wire inside the concrete. Give it a lot of strength. Yeah, it's ready for concrete. Okay, now all we're really missing is the steps and the planks across the top there. So I'm just standing on the two arches that we made, started making. It's about October 20th, and we're about out of time because I got to clean the garage out for winter. I got all the metal covered. Let this sit for the winter, and in the spring, we have to make some steps. We're going to measure this out, see what the steps will be. I think they're about 27 inches long, and we'll make those out of 27-inch wide expanded metal lap. Probably put a little rebar in it, and we'll make it do the same with the planks around the top. Before we make those all next spring, we'll have to put another light layer on here on these supports, these arch supports, and then wood grain that, make it look like wood. I already started making some spots that look like knots, and that's what we do. We get that all wood grained and finished, because I'm too old to crawl underneath and do it after the planks are in place. That'll be about it for next spring. That's the strength of ferro cement. That's 3 layers of ferro cement on here. So in the spring, we're going to put steps on here and planks across the top. I'm probably going to stick some lateral supports coming out from those central supports just to give a little more support on the ends of the planks, even though they'll be supported with rebar. At least give them a look of being stronger. And there's the base of the bridge completed. The handrails that come out further from this part of the bridge will be put in after we determine exactly what the pathway will be like leading back to the back gate. So, until spring, there it is.